that it was good, but I thought the ending was a little too downplayed. I'm thinking there's going to be a sequel. I'm not sure. I think it's been out for a little while. We'll see. We'll see. But I loved it all. I thought the ending was really great, too. Elizabeth says, I would be an author gladly. She did not tell me the name of the book that she is reading, but that's okay. So some little bit of fun for you on this Cocktail Friday. Almost adult beverage time, people. Almost. I'd say it's less than 12 hours to go. And for me, anyway. I'm not sure if I'm going to be indulging in any adult beverages tonight. Trying to be good through today so that I can let loose a little on the weekend. Been whole hog on the health and fitness this week. It's been paying off, got to tell you. Weight's coming down on the scale. I'm loving getting on the scale in the morning. It's gonna stop eventually. Now, this is what usually happens with me. I do all this stuff. I'm being really good. Scale doesn't move. I know it's more than the scale. Like I said, since I started my challenge back in January of the no carbs, no sweets, and no alcohol, which lasted 28 days, 2 days short of my goal, I still get credit for 28 days. I know that I've lost weight in certain spots on my body. I know that my clothes are fitting differently. But at that point, at the end of the challenge, I had only lost 6 pounds, which I really was pretty disappointed in, to be honest with you. Because, man, I was hungry. So, and then, the week after was my birthday, and some friends of mine came, and then we had Oprah, and then, it's just been kind of crazy. So it took me a little while to get back on track. Obviously, it's been a whole month now, but I started to, because this is my problem. I get into this rut of, I just be bad on the weekends. And so I spend the whole week getting off what I put on over the weekend, get back down to where I was, then I'm bad for the weekend again, go back up, spend the next week going back down, and then it's like this vicious circle. So this week I've been very, very vigilant, and it's finally paying off. The weight is coming off. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy that I'm seeing some results, and so I got to get through today. Today's the day. I have committed to staying on course, and then maybe have a little fun over the weekend. Not too much fun, just a little fun. On to the blog post. Today we're going to talk about crushing your fear. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. I have a confession. I've been harboring a deep fear and didn't even realize it fully until this week. I did my first speech a few weeks back in front of an audience of 2, one of which was my husband recording it. It wasn't nearly as good as I hoped. I realized I still needed to do a lot of work on it. But this is why we do our first tries in front of 2 people, right? Even leading up to that first speech, I had to force myself to practice it. I knew on some level I was afraid of it, but now I think that fear deepened because it wasn't what I hoped it would be. Flash to now, I've been doing a ton of work on that speech. I have an idea of where I want to do the next one. I'm getting my notes in order. I've been taking an online course that is showing me exactly what I need to do to make my speech successful. Piece of cake, right? I'm getting very excited about it, but it's not spurring me into action. Now, I use a daily planner to schedule my day. This one is from Brendan Bouchard. If you know me, you know I love me a little Brendan. It's called High Performance Habits. It's probably one of the cheapest planners I've seen. It's only 2 months. Most planners are 3 months. So in that sense, it's not as long as most. But when I was looking for one of these, planners, high performance type planners, I was finding that these 30-day planners were $60, $70, $80. I was like, this is nuts. His is $14. $14 for 2 months. I can handle that. I can handle it. So in this planner, you start filling your day out with your goals, your must-dos. There's a section of questions each morning to get you in the right mindset. There are also questions you are supposed to go through at night to review your day. High performance. One of the questions each night is something I learned or realized today. After writing down on my goal list each day for at least 2 weeks, practice my speech and then blowing it off every day. Every day I had an excuse. Well, I had so much to do. I did this and this and this. It's okay. It's okay. I did finally realize something. I'm scared to practice my speech. It was the first time I said it out loud or put it down in words. It's kind of freeing in a sense. I knew what my problem was, and I knew what I had to do about it. So I got up the next morning, did my regular routine, catching up on the news, going through social media, finding cool stories for you guys to talk about in the podcast, then doing the podcast, made myself some breakfast, watched a little TV. I was about to head back to the bedroom to take a nap, and I yelled at myself, "No nap for you." Not until you've done at least one speech run through. So I did it because you know how important my naps are. I think the run through went really well. I haven't done it again, but I've been adding and working on and subtracting things that are based on that run through. And I will do it again today, I guarantee you. Now, the great thing is, once I realized what my fear was for sure, I forged ahead and just did it. I forced myself. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I feared it would be. In fact, unlike my first speech, which I basically tried to memorize with some help from a couple of note cards, I talked off the cuff, from my heart. Went so much better than I thought. Now, I'm going to be a lot more nervous when there are people looking back at me, so I do worry about freezing up and forgetting where I am. But if I keep going through my speech and keep practicing, this is why practice makes perfect. I will know that speech so inside and out, and the organization of it, and from what point to what point I want to get to, that I realize that I love what I do so much, and I believe in what I'm trying to get across so wholeheartedly that I can probably talk about it for hours without any note cards. I was born to do this. Is it scary? Heck yeah. Am I going to work through that fear and do it anyway? Oh, shell yeah. Because I believe the pessimists of the world need me. They need my example that it can be done. You can change. They need to know that even the worst of the negative Nellies can change it around and become happy Harriets. I see it as my duty to inform everyone I can on how I did it, so you can do it too. Fear is one of those things that can paralyze us, but only if we let it. We often operate with a fear deep inside our subconscious, not even realizing the extent of it. So keep questioning yourself. Keep trying to figure out where you are getting stuck and why. Just identifying the fear is so powerful in itself. Once you do that, push yourself ahead and do the things you are afraid of the most. It's so freeing to prove to yourself you can do it anyway through your fear, that is. Still having some trouble? Well, what are the worst possible outcomes of doing the thing you are afraid of? What's the worst possible outcome? When it comes to my speech, I could suck at it and no one responds to it. I'm pretty sure that won't happen. But even if it does, I can move forward with that knowledge and adjust accordingly. If it turns out that I'm an awful public speaker, I can still do online courses. I can write a book. I can keep up the podcast and the blog. There are still all kinds of options to keep my purpose moving forward without public speaking. It's better to know this is not my forte than to never face my fear. It can keep you stuck for years. You won't ever be 100% ready for something you've never done before. You just won't. Just do it. And see if it's something you can improve upon or go in a different direction. Try it. Do it. Put those fears on paper and prepare for the worst possible outcome, which is rarely as bad as we think it is. Also keep in mind, especially when it comes to my example of the speech, we are not usually great at something at first. It takes practice. Be willing to suck at it until you aren't. It's that simple. So as the earlier quote mentioned, thinking won't erase fear, but action will. What are you afraid of? Just do it. You'll find it isn't nearly as scary as you thought, and you will feel so brave and empowered for finally doing it, as you should. Don't let fear win. Not living up to your full potential because you are scared is not acceptable. How sad would that be? How sad would that be? So it's finally Cocktail Friday, y'all. Woo, woo. Hope you can grab a cold one or a warm one or a room temperature one later on. I hope that you have some great plans for the weekend. Make sure, as always, to be safe in whatever you do, and go make today your best day yet.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
Ellen, I'm fearful that you will never have me on your show. And what in turn will happen is so many people will miss out on my wisdom and my expertise. And so many people will continue to live another year of unhappiness when they could be living their hopefulest, their optimistic, their very best version of themselves. And it's all because you won't have Tucker and I on your show. So go ahead, Ellen, do it. Have us on your show.